At the beginning of the movie, we see Gary and Steve standing in a strange underground lab, chatting casually about home stuff. Suddenly, Wendy walks in and tells them that Stockholm has failed, and now everyone's counting on Japan. The two men look calm and unbothered, since Japan is always number one, and the American lab comes second, so they don't seem worried at all. Meanwhile, we meet 5 college friends heading out on a trip to spend their vacation together. Among them is Dana, who's trying to move on from a failed relationship with her professor, Kurt and his girlfriend Jules, and 2 more friends, Holden and Marty, who's always smoking something. They load up the car, strap Kurt's motorcycle to the back, and hit the road, ready for a few relaxing days in a creepy cabin deep in the woods. As they drive off, a mysterious man watches them from a distance and calls his boss, saying the group has left. On the road, Jules mentions that there's no cell signal, and Marty says that's the whole point, to disconnect from all distractions and finally get some peace. Back in the lab, Steve and Gary are setting up surveillance cameras, monitors, and computers inside the control room. There's also Alex, the new security guy, who seems confident and says he's ready for anything. Later, the group stops at a rundown, spooky-looking gas station to fill up the tank. Holden goes inside to check it out and meets a strange man named Mordecai. He knows exactly where their cabin is and tells them lots of people go there for vacations. He gives them directions but warns that while their gas will get them there, it might not get them back. Then he makes a rude comment toward Jules, and Kurt almost punches him, but Holden steps in and defuses the situation before it escalates. After driving for miles, they pass through a tunnel carved into a mountain, the only way to reach the forest, which lies in a deep valley. As they enter the tunnel, a bird crashes into an invisible wall, revealing that the whole forest is sealed off by some kind of energy field. Minutes later, they arrive at the cabin, start unpacking their stuff, and head to their rooms. Holden notices a creepy painting hanging in his room and jokes to himself. Great, just what I needed, more horror. When he removes it, he finds a two-way mirror behind it, and realizes he can see into the next room. He's shocked to see Dana changing clothes, so he shouts for her to stop and calls everyone to check out the mirror. After a few laughs, Holden offers to switch rooms with Dana, and she agrees, thanking him. Later, she notices that she can actually see Holden through the same mirror, so she covers it back up with the painting and throws a cloth over it to make it less creepy. Back in the lab, the technicians are watching everything that's happening inside the cabin. They're discussing the operation and reviewing blood samples they took from the students. The reports show that they've injected Jules with hormones to increase her sexual drive. Then they get a call from Mordecai, who says the group is on their way to the cabin and that they need to do what's necessary for the greater good. Clearly, something big is going on. Mordecai takes it all way too seriously, to the point that Gary and Steve can't help laughing at him. While the students are having fun and playing around, Gary and Steve are running bets on who will be the first to die. Alex criticizes them, saying it's unfair since they're the ones controlling the whole scenario anyway. But Gary and Steve tell him it doesn't work like that. They just set the stage and open the basement door. What happens next depends on the students' own choices. That night, the group gathers to play Truth or Dare. Jules goes first, and they dare her to kiss the mounted wolf's head on the wall. Shockingly, she accepts and does it with weird passion. Then it's Dana's turn, but suddenly, a hidden door behind them creaks open, leading down to the basement. Of course, the group dares her to go down there. Dana heads into the dark basement and finds it full of eerie old objects, dolls, a dusty piano, strange trinkets. She screams when she sees a terrifying painting of a girl, and the others rush down to join her. Marty turns on a small flashlight, revealing even more creepy stuff. He warns them they shouldn't be down there, especially after hearing faint whispers, but everyone ignores him. Dana finds an old diary belonging to the first family who ever lived in the cabin. The father wrote about torturing his own family during rituals meant to summon evil spirits, and some parts were written in Latin. Marty begs her not to keep reading, but she doesn't listen, and the moment she finishes the last sentence, the undead family rises from their graves. Back at the lab, everyone starts cheering, the maintenance team just won the betting pool. It turns out they were gambling on which monster would attack the students. Alex still doesn't believe in any of this supernatural nonsense, while Steve complains that he wishes they'd pick the merman, since no one ever chooses that one. Gary then checks the other screens showing similar experiments happening in other countries, and it's clear that every one of them has failed, except for Japan, where a group of schoolgirls is currently dealing with a vengeful ghost. After that, the students went back up to the house, and Kurt and Jules started acting strangely. Kurt was drinking heavily, while Jules began teasing and flirting with Marty in a very seductive way. Then she went out into the woods with Kurt to have some fun. Meanwhile, Marty was acting weird too. He felt like someone was controlling everything that was happening to them. But Dana told him he was just overreacting and that what he was feeling was just an illusion caused by what they had been drinking. Marty eventually left and went to bed, leaving Dana and Holden alone. At the same time, Kurt tried to get closer to Jules and convinced her to go deeper into the woods for a bit, but she refused because she was cold. In the lab, the technicians seemed frustrated because they hadn't yet gotten the shot they were waiting for, so they released some hormonal chemicals into the air to increase arousal. That's when Kurt and Jules started feeling drawn to each other more intensely. The technicians dimmed the lights to create a romantic atmosphere, while everyone in the lab watched them through the screens. When Alex said they were overdoing it, Steve laughed and told him they had to please the customer. Suddenly, a zombie appeared in front of Jules and stabbed her hand. Kurt immediately jumped up to protect her, but the zombie stabbed him in the shoulder. Kurt pulled the knife out, shoved the zombie away, but then another one appeared, this one holding a huge chain, and struck him with it, knocking him down. The first zombie held Kurt down, forcing him to watch as the rest of the zombie family tore Jules apart. In the lab, Gary and Steve acted as if they had nothing to do with what happened, as if Jules's death were just a sacrifice for something mysterious that we still didn't understand. Then a mechanical arm extended from one of the machines, allowing Jules's blood to flow into a stone channel carved in the shape of a human figure. Back in the house, Marty heard the strange voices again and decided to check them out. But first, he went into the bathroom and noticed that the sky was completely empty, not a single star. Suddenly, a zombie appeared behind him, moving closer, but Kurt showed up just in time and saved him. Marty ran back inside the house, and Kurt told everyone that Jules was dead and that they needed to leave immediately because the forest was full of zombies. At that moment, Dana opened the door and saw one of the zombies throw Jules's severed head toward her. They quickly slammed the door shut. Kurt said they needed to stick together and lock all doors and windows, but the people in the lab didn't like that idea because it complicated their plan. So they released a nerve gas that made Kurt suddenly change his mind. He said it'd be better if they split up to cover more ground. And so, everyone went to their own rooms. In his room, Marty accidentally broke a lamp while closing the window and discovered a small hidden camera inside it. In the lab, Steve wanted to release another gas to wipe his memory, but Gary stopped him and said there was no need. One of the zombies was already on its way to him, and he wouldn't survive anyway. Marty stared at the camera and realized he was being watched, that everything happening was part of something much bigger than he thought. Just then, a zombie burst through the window and dragged him outside. Marty tried to fight back, but the zombie was stronger. It threw him to the ground and pulled him into the woods. Back in the lab, another mechanical arm extended, letting Marty's blood flow into the same stone channel. Then the house began to shake violently. One of the zombies climbed through Dana's window, and she screamed for help. Holden heard her, smashed the glass between their rooms, and pulled her through just before the zombie killed her. At that moment, another zombie tried to break into Holden's room, so he pushed the bed against the door to block it. Then they noticed a hidden door in the floor. Dana grabbed a flashlight and looked down to make sure it was safe, then she and Holden climbed down. When Kurt tried to follow them, Holden told him the door wouldn't open and that he should hide in the basement for now. Down below, Dana found a huge chain and realized this was the same room where the first family that lived in the house had been murdered. Suddenly, a door behind them swung open, and a zombie grabbed Dana and pulled her up, but she reacted quickly, fought back, and managed to shove it back into the basement. She grabbed the first tools she could find and hid it. In the lab, the technicians pressed a button that sent an electric current through the tool in Dana's hand, shocking her and making her drop it, leaving her defenseless. Holden quickly opened another door and told Dana he'd found a way out of the house. She followed him down a dark hallway until they reached an exterior door, which they burst through and ran straight to the car, trying to escape, unaware that the door behind them was now smeared with blood. At the same time in Japan, the schoolgirls managed to banish the evil spirit, which meant the American team was the only one left, and all the hope rested on them now. Wendy called Gary and Steve, scolding them for always joking around and not taking things seriously. She reminded them that they had to finish the ritual because they couldn't let the Ancient Ones return again. Gary noticed that the student's car was getting close to the tunnel, so he rushed to shut it down, but there was a system malfunction. He acted fast, fixed the broken wire just in time, and blew up the tunnel. At that moment, Kurt reacted quickly and pulled back before the tunnel collapsed on them. Now, the only way out was to jump off the cliff, but they didn't have any ropes. Kurt decided to use his motorcycle since he'd made huge jumps before, but as soon as he took off, he slammed into an invisible force field, got electrocuted, and died instantly. That's when Dana realized Marty had been right all along. Someone was controlling them from behind the scenes. Just like before, the mechanical arm came up again, and blood poured into the stone channel. Holden and Dana got back into their car and drove toward the cabin, hoping to find another way out. But suddenly a knife stabbed Holden from behind, killing him instantly. It turned out a zombie had been hiding inside the car from the start. The car plunged into the lake, and the zombie chased Dana, but she managed to escape. Back in the lab, everyone was celebrating, but Alex couldn't understand why. Dana was still alive. Steve explained that she had to suffer before dying. Dana crawled out of the lake only to find the zombie right in front of her. Meanwhile, in the control room, power systems began to fail. Steve made a call and discovered that one of the sacrifices was still alive, meaning the ritual wasn't complete. We returned to Dana. The zombie was about to kill her, but Marty suddenly appeared and saved her just in time. The two of them worked together, killed the zombie, and threw its body into the lake. Marty and Dana ran into the cemetery while more zombies chased them. There, they found the one that had dragged Marty away earlier, now torn to pieces. Marty noticed the control panel, pressed a button, and a hidden door in the ground opened, leading them to a strange elevator. They stepped inside as it began to move in all directions, stopping briefly to reveal a werewolf. Then it moved again, and every time it stopped, they saw a new monster. Dana finally realized that these were the same creatures from the basement, and understood that the people running everything were deciding which monster each victim would face, while the rest waited in their cages. The technicians in the lab figured out that the hallucinogenic gas didn't affect Marty because of what he smoked. When the elevator finally stopped, a guard stood in front of them with a gun, demanding Dana. But suddenly, a zombie arm burst from the floor, grabbed his leg, and dragged him down, giving Marty and Dana the chance to kill him. Dana took the zombie's knife, Marty grabbed the gun, and they both moved into the lower corridors. They heard a woman's voice telling them this wasn't just for fun. They had been brought there to appease the Ancient Ones, to keep them asleep beneath the earth and prevent them from destroying the world. Just then, more guards appeared, and Dana and Marty ran into the control room. Dana hit a button on the console, and all the cages opened. The monsters were unleashed, tearing through the guards in a bloodbath. Chaos spread everywhere, creatures slaughtered anyone in sight. Suddenly, a dragon smashed into the control room where Marty and Dana were, forcing them to escape through a vent that led to a hidden tunnel under the facility. Meanwhile, Gary and Wendy tried to open the emergency gate. Alex was killed by the scarecrow monster, but before dying, he threw a grenade that blew up Steve. Moments later, a creature attacked and killed Wendy, dragging her away with huge tentacles that came down from the ceiling. Gary managed to open the emergency door and ran into the tunnel, but Dana suddenly stabbed him with a knife, killing him. Before dying, he begged her to kill Marty. Marty handed her the gun, and they went deeper into the chamber, finding 5 ancient stone carvings, 4 of them filled with blood, and 1 still empty. Dana realized those figures represented her friends, and the ritual was a form of human sacrifice. Marty got angry and said, "If they're gonna sacrifice us anyway, why not just kill us quickly?" Dana replied that maybe they wanted them to suffer first. Then, the director of the whole operation appeared, the same voice they had heard before. She told them that these rituals had existed since ancient times to satisfy the Ancient Ones, massive evil gods who slept beneath the ground, right under the facility. If the sacrifices weren't completed, they would awaken and destroy the world. She warned that sunrise was in 8 minutes, Marty had to die before then. Marty didn't want the world to keep going at the cost of his friends' lives, but Dana believed in the greater good and didn't want the Ancient Ones to rise. She pointed the gun at Marty and apologized. Just then, a werewolf appeared behind Dana. Instead of warning her, Marty apologized too, and the werewolf attacked her, making her drop the gun. Marty rushed, grabbed it, and shot the creature, driving it away. The director came back, and a fight broke out between her and Marty. Suddenly, a zombie appeared in the chamber. Dana shouted a warning, and Marty used the director as a shield, letting the zombie attack her instead. Then he kicked them both into the pit below. But since the zombie and the director weren't part of the official sacrifices, the ground began to shake violently. The end had come. The Ancient Ones were awakening because the final sacrifice was never made. In the final scene, Marty and Dana share one last cigarette, waiting for their inevitable end. Suddenly, a massive hand bursts through the ground, destroying everything around it, a sign that the world is about to end. And that's how our movie ends. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.